stars aligned. My name is Kelly, and this video is about embodied feminine energetics and how to, through a very simple practice, drop into your feminine energy. And this came through when I was on a hike with someone this morning. I have practices that I do, and they've come to this point now where they're second nature, but that's because it's been something I've been learning for so long and something that I'm so passionate about and love to guide other women in coming home to their unique core feminine frame and expression. And that's what we're going to talk about in this video. A quick, powerful, easy way that you can start orienting more from your feminine energetic baseline. So let's get into it. And I'm going to start by, let's give it a little bit of a lay of the land here. What is feminine energy? What's a feminine energetic, right? So we all have within us feminine and masculine energy. It's our yin to our yang. It's our action to our receiving. It's our will to our surrender. There is this dance of polarity within each and every human being. And some of us have different poles or pillars that we like to reside in, not dependent upon your gender, but dependent upon what feels good and right and true in your soul and your spirit. So this is for the women who want to orient from more of their feminine baseline. And what is our feminine baseline feel like? It's being more in our receptive energy. It's being more in our right-brained, perceptive, mythical, feeling, attuning, observing, sensing, receiving, we said that, but also receiving intuition, receiving oracles, receiving clarity. It's pleasure. It's very linked to the body. It's cyclical, and it is fluid. There's a fluidity to our feminine frame. Whereas with our masculine frame, our masculine energetic, that is the part of us that thrives in more of a linear role of directing, of leading, of utilizing our consciousness to formulate plans, ideas, structures, stability, a directive. It is the part of us that is focused on strategizing and focused on using the mind, using the will in a directive way. And when we want to connect to more of our feminine energy, it's a process of sinking back. All right, so this is the core message of this video, core method I'm going to talk about, and it's something that I now call down and back. Which to like hyper feminists, that probably sounds like really triggering, like down and back. I'm not going down and back. It's like, actually there's a lot of beauty to this. So let's take a quick brief moment. I won't go too off topic, but I'm going to talk for a moment about the chakras in our body because they're very linked to our energy and our energy levels and our energy expression. So the upper chakras are actually more masculine. There's a penetration, there's a direction, there is an ascending consciousness, there is a directive with our upper chakras. Seeking. The lower chakras are more about feeling, they're more about grounding, they're more about preserving, they're more about the cycles of nature, the cycles of our wombs, the cycles of nature. It's very linked to more of the lower chakras and our rootedness. So if we want to drop into our feminine energy, we want to cultivate a relationship with what is it to be rooted? What is it to sink down into our body? And I would also say back, and we'll talk about that in the second component. So I was out on this hike this morning with someone I care about, and we were having an amazing time. And going into the hike, I'm a generator, so I'm a creature of response. I also think all beings can be like that. We can light up around certain people, and sometimes we can feel really tired, right? We're energetic beings, all of us. But I am a generator, and there was a response of like so much excitement and play and expansiveness and a little bit more upper chakras, this like kind of yang, like quick, fast, witty, playful. But about halfway through, my feminine baseline was calling me. I didn't say that, but now I know in my body, because I've been doing this work for so long, I can feel when my feminine energy is like, please replenish me. Like, it's so fun for you to be in your expansiveness and your yang energy, but like, it's time. Come home for a minute. And I did my down and back practice. So I let my energy, with mostly my awareness at first, start trickling down from here, this kind of like fast here. And I like felt it trickle down through my throat, through my heart, through my belly, landing kind of in my hips in a way that I could physically do this. And this is I'm sharing my experience, but also I'm kind of trying to weave the method into my experience. So catch on if you like, if you will. I brought more attention to my hips when I was walking, right? Like, so energetically, physically, I'm bringing more awareness to my lower body, to my pelvic bowl, to my hips, and some of the energy that was moving out, I started kind of pulling it back in. Not that I was pulling it away, not that I was closing off, right? And there's a big difference here in feminine energetics between closing off, you can't get my energy, versus it's kind of like you're falling. I'm like imagining right now, I'm like falling on a bed of pillows, right? It's like, what would your posture take on if that's what was happening to you? And it's not weak, it's not passive, it's deeply surrendered into oneself, into the moment. It's an opening. So I surrendered and opened, and just like kind of allowed myself to exist for more my back body than my front body, right? Like I went from like golden retriever to like cozy cat. And you know, we can have a full spectrum of expressions, but for me, when my feminine is feeling a little undernourished, and I can typically tell she's undernourished because I start getting a little tired, or maybe even, I mean, we all have our own unique expressions, so I won't go into that, but I was definitely noticing I was wanting to feel a little bit more like slow in my body and in my feelings. So I took that moment to bring my awareness down into my lower body, my hips, my belly, and I allowed my energy to sink back. So that probably looked like a little bit of like slower pace of communication, lingering eye contact, just like a little bit slower and like back. Like everything moved a few notches slow-mo. But in that, I felt so nourished and so resourced, and also so supported. Like, and that's kind of leaning back. The person I was with, like, was actually like really beautifully leaning in and offering to do really like lovely things for me, and it was just wonderful. And I'm not saying that's always what happens, and it's definitely not why I did it. I leaned back because I was just wanting to sink into a little bit more of my feminine pull and my feminine frame. I say pull like the poles of North Pole, South Pole, right? Like polarity. So if you are wanting to explore with this, and you notice that maybe in a lot of your life, you are operating from kind of more of like the front body out, like the chest out, or the left brain, like the rationalizing or the thinking or conceiving of ideas or plotting, planning, thinking, analyzing, it's more left brain energy. It's more of your masculine frame. And to sink into our feminine frame is to allow ourselves to lean back and bring our awareness down into our body. And it's potent what can happen there. It's very powerful. And I'll be honest, like, some people don't sometimes know how to be with that energy. It's, you know, it's more present. There's more of a focus on presence than crafting and curation and building, right? Like perfect example. If you take a businessman who doesn't like getting dirty, doesn't like going in nature, has his whole day full of tasks, if you try to take him into the redwoods for a walk, he's probably not going to like it, because he doesn't have a level of presence to, you know, take his shoes off and put his feet on the soil and smell the different smells and notice the different patterns of growth and, you know, pick up on the different species that live around the area, because he's wanting to be more in his like logical, creative, productive, rational thinking, plotting, planning, right? Whereas if you take someone who loves nature into the redwoods, they're going to notice the little ladybugs on the bark, and they're going to appreciate the moments of silence and stillness and presence, or the different shapes that trees take on, or the different demeanors of different animals, because it's nature. And women, we are divine expressions of nature. And when we learn to bring our attention and awareness down and to lean back, again, not in a way that's closing off, but in a way that's more receptive to feel, because we're operating from like the depth of us and the fullness of us, rather than like out here, we're like here. We have a larger container, we have a larger presence about us when we're down and back. Yeah, it can sound a little cryptic at first, but I encourage you to try this on next time you're wanting to play with the embodied energetic of your feminine essence. You can do this anywhere too. You can do this in the supermarket, you can do this when you're buying your coffee, and it's so amazing to notice like how the world shifts in response to that. It's like a very benevolent form of influence, and this is the power that women hold. And why I'm so passionate about this work is I really feel when women are embodying their feminine frame while also honoring their full spectrum range. You know, it's not just about always being in your feminine or whatever. Like we are full spectrum beings, but I think the world is hungry for the impact that embodied women can bring to the world, where we're not forcing, controlling, directing with derivative, you know, like we're not like poking at life all the time. We're leaning back and we're descending down, and that creates such a magnetic field. And I notice each time I slip into this energetic, because I personally just need it in the moment, it creates a very different ripple experience in the outside world around me. Because I think people really repeat, a lot of people long for that depth of presence. A lot of people long for that moment to take a breath and to sink a little bit. And when we create that sinking and leaning back quality within us, there's an opening from our heart. And that heart opening can't happen when we're trying to control and plot. So there's a certain surrender into the back body and bringing our awareness down into our hips, down into our pelvic bowl. So this is a really powerful thing that I work with a lot. It's very simple, but try it out and you'll see that simple can be revolutionary. And also the art of being woman, right, is the art of being, and it's more of an art of unlearning than it is of trying to become. It's surrendering into what's already there and unlearning. So I wanted to share this video. I have actually an upcoming immersive women's course. If you want to be a part of it, it's all about the energetics of femininity, of resting in your feminine radiance, of resting in your inherent, unique feminine magnetism. So stay tuned if you want to get the updates on that. But I hope this was supportive, and if you want to share anything in the comments below of your experience with this or any questions you have, I would love to hear it. Okay, catch you on the next video. Bye.